Hi everybody, and welcome to A Case of the Jills. This sounds so stupid, but I'm so excited to actually be talking to you today. It's been a little bit of time since my last video, but I really missed you. I miss doing videos, and I'm super excited to be back. Okay, so I'm gonna go through everything that's been happening the last month for the most part. Okay, first of all, you see I'm in a different room. We have finally moved back to the town that we wanted to move to when we first came to Italy. The town is called Chiavari, and it is part of an area called Liguria. Sort of mentioned this before when I filmed a little hiking video, but it's actually on the Italian Riviera, and it's completely beautiful, right on the seaside. Our new place is like steps from the beach, which is amazing, and it's just so beautiful. I feel so lucky to be here. I'm actually gonna show you some shots of the house in a little bit. It's not super easy to take video with my big, huge Canon camera here, but I do want to show you one tiny part of my house that I'm super in love with. Check it out. We are in my bedroom. This is my bed. I don't love that bedspread. Can you see it? I got it at IKEA. I have to admit, it's not my favorite, but check this out. Oh my goodness. This is what I look at when I wake up in the morning. It definitely doesn't suck. The move was pretty difficult. We got our container from America that had been shipped over on a big boat, and when everything arrived, it was a super huge mess in the house, and I just was like, when is this stuff ever gonna find a spot to live for long term? Everything is now settled and everything is kind of like set up, so we're feeling pretty good. Okay, the second thing I wanted to tell you about, I told you a long time ago, almost 7 or 8 months ago, that I was studying for and I was going to take the exam to be an official health coach. I chose ACE certification because it is the most well-known. It is the one that most people know about. It is the one that's sort of like tried and tested. I actually purchased the materials to study for the exam even before I started at Harvard. It was always in the background of what I was doing, even when I was studying like crazy. So I'm happy to say that I studied for and I took the exam and I passed, and so I am now an ACE certified health coach. I should be really excited about this, and I am, because I think it's really great to have the certification, and I'm super excited to be official. But I'm gonna be totally honest with you. The ACE Health Coach course was much less beneficial to me than a class I took at Harvard this past January with a woman named Margaret Moore, who is the founder of a company called Well Coaches. If you don't know anything about health coaching, I would suggest that you start with Well Coaches. Margaret Moore is one of the most incredible people I've ever met in my life. She is such a dynamic individual, and she has created this method of health coaching steeped in psychology and science. And she teaches a course at Harvard Extension called The Science of Coaching Psychology. I took the class in January, and it was life-changing. The things that I learned in that class are things that were way, way more beneficial to me and eventually to you than the ACE Health Coach certification could ever be. There was a tiny bit of overlap, especially when we're talking about things like behavioral change, some things about building rapport with clients and customers, and what it means to be empathic. Sure, there's some overlap in some of those things. But being honest, the class that I took with Margaret Moore was so much more in-depth. It was so much more in line with the philosophy that I have, with the philosophy that I want to bring to you. The ACE Health Coach certification wasn't so great for me or us, like this population of people watching this channel. The ACE Health Coach manual was mostly centered on obesity and helping clients that are obese and negative health implications as a result of their weight. This is a very delicate conversation to have. There's a lot of question about whether or not obesity actually leads to negative health implications, or if negative health implications are just something that happen independently of obesity. I'm not gonna go down that rabbit hole. The only thing I am gonna say though is that I'm super excited about officially being able to take on clients. You can find counseling appointments on acaseofthejills.com. Scroll down, you'll find mentoring and counseling right there. You can schedule an appointment with me, even though I am here. I will try to work with you with your time zone. It has not been something that has inhibited any of the clients that I've worked with thus far, so we will find a time that works, I promise. Okay, next thing, school. Yes, school. So, most of you know that I am taking right now the prerequisites to be considered for admission to the Harvard Extension program of master's degree concentration in psychology. I have finished, or actually I'm on my third prerequisite for admission, which means that I just applied for official admission like a week ago. I don't have any indication that I will not get in because I've done really well in all my classes thus far, but I'm keeping my fingers crossed, and I hope that you keep your fingers crossed for me too, and I should know by the end of May. This semester is my first online class, and it's really funny because it looks like the Brady Bunch. I think I'm dating myself there. You know how at the beginning of the Brady Bunch, there were all those squares of all the different family members, and they were all like looking up and around at each other? I'll try to put like a shot of this in here somewhere so that you can see what I'm talking about. So my class kind of looks like that. My professor is in one of the squares, and there's 15 people in the class, and we're all in 15 little squares. We are on live camera, and of course, you know, you're talking the whole time, and it's a little bit weird, but I don't mind it. It's great. At least I get to interact with my classmates once a week, and then I go off and do all my research and my papers on my own. But it's really kind of nice to stay connected to the rest of the group. So everything's going great with school. I am not taking a class this summer, but I am going to start courses again in the fall semester, which will start at the end of August, just like many of you. If you saw my recent Instagram post, you know that I just celebrated a birthday also. I'm at an age now where people are starting to ask me questions about how I feel about aging. I'm like, are you trying to say I'm old? I'm not going to lie. I am also in that age group where many of my peers are choosing to do things like, you know, botox and cosmetic surgery and all these different things to try to stay youthful. As I've said, I think I've said this before on this channel, which is that I'm not gonna do any cosmetic surgery. I'm not getting Botox. I have massive, like really bad 11s right here. Can you see them? Can you see them? I don't wanna do it. I feel pretty good about my age. I mean, I'm no spring chicken, but I don't feel regret about how I look. I don't feel badly about how I look. I also don't think that how I look is really emblematic of the kind of person that I am. I think our eyes are getting used to perfect faces with no lines and no marks and everything perfect. I'm not perfect in anything else in my life. Why should my face be perfect? I, of course, would love to not have like little creases here and there, and you know, I have like sun damage and staining and stuff, but you know what? Whatever. I just don't want to be like hung up on things like that. I'm going to use good skincare products, and I'm going to try to stay out of the sun as I always do, and do my best to wear hats and sunglasses when I'm outside. But you know what? Come on, there's so many more important things in life. Okay, in 5 years from now, if I'm like, oh, by the way, I'm getting like lip filler. No, I'm kidding, I can't do it. I don't wanna do it. Have you seen pictures of my mom? I'm gonna drop one in here. She's beautiful, she's 69. Whatever, I'm gonna be fine. Speaking of mom, my parents came to visit as well. They were here for 10 days. It was super fun. So of course that took up a lot of my time too. That's another reason why I wasn't right here on YouTube. My parents are so fun. They like to eat good food and drink wine, and they love music. They have told me they're coming back this summer, and they had better be coming back this summer because I've got your guest bedroom waiting right now. Okay, Jill, so stop talking. Now, what are you gonna tell me about A Case of the Jills now? A Case of the Jills has always been a place where you can come and get great information, solid scientific-based information on things like overtraining syndrome, hypothalamic amenorrhea, and all the things associated with that. I am lucky enough to get emails and questions from women and men all over the world that have had issues with these things and are looking for more advice and counseling. I'm happy to provide that. I love being that resource for you. None of that is ever gonna change. However, I started thinking about some of the information that I was looking for when I was going through this period of recovery, when I was super nervous and super scared and didn't really know what was gonna happen. Every once in a while, I would maybe catch a blog post or some Instagram post or something on YouTube where a person was talking about their before and their after. Usually accompanied by a picture, usually accompanied by a story of I did XYZ and then get my period back, or I stopped training so much and now I'm on the road to recovery from overtraining syndrome. But I couldn't find anything about what this person's actual life was like after they went through the recovery process. After they transitioned out of being a really high volume athlete to now something else. What was going on with this person after they went through this process? What was life like for them? I realized I had so many questions in my mind about what things were gonna look like for me. I was so tied to being seen as an athlete. I was so tied to seeing myself as an athlete. I mean, even my day was structured around being an athlete. So like, what does life look like now? I realized that the way I live my life every day is exactly the kind of information that I was looking to find back when I was going through the process. And I got to thinking, gosh, Jill, like, why don't you share more of your life on YouTube? Why don't you like walk around with a camera more? Why don't you share more of that on Instagram or on any of the other social media platforms. And it's true, up until now I haven't really done a lot of that. I just thought it was beyond the scope. I thought it was kind of irrelevant. I guess I was a little shy about it. I was like, why does anyone want to see me talk about these nonsensical things of my everyday mundane life? But then I realized that's not it at all. I think people do want to see that, because they do want to see that your life doesn't end when you stop competing in ultramarathon or bodybuilding competitions or triathlon or whatever it is that you're doing right now that is not healthy for you, if that's the case for you. So I'm also going to be trying to share with you what I'm calling after the after. I'm actually using the hashtag after the after on Instagram and other places too, just to let you know that there is a whole bunch of stuff going on after the after. This concept was inspired by a lot of the people that write to me who are looking to change without changing anything at all. Trying to change without changing is impossible. Although it might be hard to conceptualize at this point, recovery is about becoming something new, not about staying the same. I realize that can be a scary process. So I figured if I can show you how becoming something new can be just as awesome, if not more amazing, than staying the same, maybe it'll make it easier for you. We have to realize that we do not right now know everything there is to know about who or what it is that we are going to be. Before and after is easy, but what comes later? So I've written a blog post about this as well, and I hope you go over to acaseofthejills.com to read it and leave your feedback. I'm really interested to see what you think of this concept. Is this information that you want to see and hear and know about? Are you interested in the after the after? What can I show you about my life to let you know that things are really great? I never thought they could be this great. I hope that you enjoy the content that I'm going to be bringing you. I hope that you enjoy the little clips of videos and little snippets of my life here and there. I'm also, of course, going to be sharing with you tons of the research that I've been doing on things like athletic identity, amenorrhea recovery, overtraining syndrome, personality, all the things that have to do with sports psychology and supporting athletes in getting healthy. If you would like to schedule a counseling call with me via Skype or WhatsApp or kind of like any other thing that works for you, we can do that. Like I said, go to acaseofthejills.com and scroll down to where you see coaching and mentoring and select a time that works with your time zone. You can always email me at acaseofthejills@gmail.com. I do want to mention that I've taken a step back from Facebook for many reasons. So you can still go ahead and like the Facebook page and connect with me there. However, that page will not be updated as much as Instagram will be. I hope that wherever you are today, you're having an awesome day. I thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you soon.